I don't know what Nintendo's doing. I feel like there's a video game just market crash coming. I really do. Nintendo, I feel like, is milking the cow of this tariff thing. They knew it was coming. This is not news. They knew these tariffs were coming. Look at Australia. I think the Switch in Australia is like $750 because of tariffs over there. Not that I'm saying that I want to get to that. Tariffs aren't new. Actually, other countries charge exceedingly more tariffs than we do. And so we've got this situation where I feel like they saw an opportunity to create a fear-based mongering thing and create even more demand for the system. I feel like they're using this tariff situation so much to their advantage, and they're trying to play victim. Oh, poor us. We didn't know about these tariffs. Meanwhile, we imported 350,000 Switch 2 units already because we knew about the tariffs, but we're going to cry about the tariffs because we didn't know about the tariffs. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I worked in the financial industry for a very long time. So I know a decent amount about these tariffs and everything that's going on with them. And it is absolutely absurd what is going on right now. They have, and another thing is that you really have to look at most companies don't make money on the hardware. They make money on the software and like the little accessories that you attach to their Switch that they spent 2 to 3 cents on, and they charge you $19.99 on. They make a ton of profit on that. And I realize that they have employees and they got to pay their employees, so they can't just not have profit on anything. I understand that. But for them crying, "Oh, poor me," on this tariff situation, I feel like is them trying to charge even more for software, for them trying to charge even more for hardware. I feel like they're trying to get out of this as much money as they possibly can. I don't know if they feel like Switch 2 isn't going to sell as good as Switch 1. I mean, most people have their hands on a Switch 1, and they don't really have a reason to come over to Switch 2 because they don't really have a line. They're reselling you games that you already have on the Switch 1. If you wanted those games, they're there. You already have them. How many people really want to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom again? I don't think that many. Some of these games, they put the upgrades on a paywall for the subscription, and you lose them as soon as the subscription's over, and some of them you just got to pay for outright, and hopefully you keep them. It's ridiculous. Nintendo is using this situation. I mean, this is not the Nintendo that I grew up with. They've always done quirky things, and if you look at the pricing of Nintendo 64 games back in the 90s, that was an absolute roller coaster, train wreck as well, and they made it through that. The GameCube came out, and I don't remember the GameCube pricing because I really never got into the GameCube all that much. They are just milking this cow for everything it's worth. They also want you to know that the system's still coming out on June 5th. Now, they didn't say if that's across the world or just in certain regions. I don't know. But they've got 350,000 units here, so I'd imagine that they're going to do some kind of launch on June 5th in America. I have no idea what's going on. And then back in the tariffs in 2019, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all kind of banded together, and they kind of got out of the tariff situation. So much of these systems are sold here in the United States of America. Why can't you just have a facility here that makes this stuff? I don't know. Like Apple and a couple other huge juggernauts are putting money into this, and you can't tell me that Microsoft doesn't have money. You can't tell me that Sony doesn't have money. Nintendo just posted a $4 billion profit from this last year. I mean, you can't tell me that they don't have enough money to move this stuff over into a country that has basically created you. I mean, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo would not be anything near what they are if they didn't have America buying so much of their stuff. So I don't want to hear it. The slave labor that they've got hired over in these other countries. I mean, especially in China. I mean, it's the working conditions that these people work in so that this stuff is cheaper is pathetic. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that the whole situation where they're literally kept in camps and work 16 hours a day and sometimes have to sleep at their job spot where they, it's nobody wants to talk about that. That's why your systems are the price that they are. So yeah, it's a hot mess. I don't feel bad for them because this game, this Mario Kart and all the other games, like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom really irritate me to no end that they are $80. And the Mario Kart world being $80 was already going to happen before this whole tariff thing, but they're trying to blame somebody else. So they take the blame off themselves, just like in that one interview that they did like 2 days ago or a day ago, where they blame the retailers for creating different prices. And then that same day, somebody posted something from, I think, England, where retailers were only charging $50 for that Bonanza game because it's like trash. It's like what are we making here? Like you've got this huge company that made $4 billion profit last year, and this is what you're making for games. And people are going to buy it, I guarantee it. But I mean, I don't know how many people actually buy Donkey Kong games anymore, because if you think about back in the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo back in the day. That was a huge achievement, those games. So I didn't even know how the Super Nintendo was running that game. Now it's just like, what is this? It's just like a bunch of blobs and everybody's like, well, it's got 150 facial expressions. That stuff is done like with the computer now. Like it's not like people are modeling that stuff like they were back in the day. That was a lot of work back in the day. I did that kind of stuff. The facial expression stuff. You literally had to make one little iteration for every facial. I highly doubt that that's a thing anymore. It's probably all automated. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I have a good feeling it's automated. And that they're just reselling as games that they already made. We already played these games. And that Bravely Default doesn't really look that much better, if at all. Actually, it's more cumbersome because the stuff that was on the second screen is now on the main screen, and like you don't have as much area. So I think it looked better on the 3DS, to be honest. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about it. It just feels like a bully situation. Like, oh, they're bullying us, but you already knew about this. Japan already knows about this. Why? Because they charge some of the highest tariffs in the world. Anyway, I was really genuinely looking forward to this Switch 2 Direct. I really was, because I thought they were actually going to bring out games. But they here's some regurgitation here little peasant, buy these games that we already made. Oh, we're going to charge more for it. This is the same thing that you see with Apple and the same thing that you see with Nintendo. These two companies in particular, I really feel like have such a brainwashed. And I'm kind of like that more with Apple actually than I am with Nintendo. But at the same time, this is an iPhone like 11 because I'm not buying the 5G. I won't buy an Android phone because they look. I just don't like them. I don't like how they operate. They operate like stupidly to me. And so yeah, I had that kind of with Apple. But then again, I won't buy their PCs because they're way too overpriced. And so, but do you have that with this Nintendo? The blindsiders on like, and people who work at Nintendo say that you have that blind side on when you work at Nintendo. They abuse their employees, but it's like, oh, I work at Nintendo, so I'll just take it, And that's what they do with their customer base, and their customer base lets them do that. and I'm just not this time. Like I actually may never buy a Switch 2 now, and it sucks because I look at the hardware and it looks really cool. It really does. Like I don't really play portable, but I like some of the stuff on this Switch 2. I really do. But I was so disappointed, and I'm watching it, and then I'm watching some of the reactions to this, and people are so excited. I'm like, what are you excited about? A chat function that's been around for almost 12, 13 years now? Games that you already played that you're rebuying? I mean, they didn't even mention any kind of other games in the works, which I think they probably wanted to stay away from because Sony and Microsoft have done that almost too much lately. Like, oh, this game's coming out in 2027. So I think they want to stay away from that because they've seen the downfall of that with other companies. But, I mean, there was just nothing to get excited about in that for me. I don't know. And those of us who are not terribly excited about this, I've noticed they aren't showing our videos. I mean, I really realize that I've got like 50 some odd subscribers. This is a small channel. But I feel like they won't push us as much as the ones who are. Because Nintendo, I remember the NES Mini thing that they did. What was the classic NES Classic little thing that they did? Like 10 years ago. I feel like now. I happened to be on a bike ride, and I stopped my bike ride. I'm like, oh, I think this thing comes out. I looked at my phone. I hit buy for this NES Classic, and I actually got one from Amazon. I was like it sold out in 15 seconds. If anybody knew how, I think this just came out. I'm on the middle of a bike ride in the middle of nowhere. I was in that situation. They'd been so mad, and I did get mine from Amazon. I just happened to be one of the lucky ones that 15-second margin. I got it, but. Later that day, I was on there, and I have a screenshot of it. I don't know where that is, unfortunately. I really wish I knew where that was saved. 4,799 one-star reviews on how pathetic Nintendo handled that thing. And what did Nintendo make Amazon do? They took every single one-star review off the next day. So many people were talking about it. And I feel like Nintendo has some kind of scrubber on YouTube that if you're talking negative about them, it removes or just doesn't, show your video. It's ridiculous. This company is just, hopefully people vote with their dollar with this whole thing, and hopefully people can see that this is just Nintendo playing poor me. They saw an opportunity. The guy that runs the place, the CEO, is just total businessman, total profit at all costs. And let's just give them some just trash, and they'll rebuy it because they always do. And it's just like, I'm over it. I really am. Why? I mean, I own the game. If it looks slightly better, let me pay $20 extra for that. Like, what? Okay. Anyway, because there's so little that needs to be done to make it have HDR and have it just the high res. There's so little that needs to be done. It's not like they had to rebuild the whole thing or anything. It's just, anyway, I could blabber on, and I'm not going to. That's it. This has been Ryan, Nintendo Podcast. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.